In this video, you're going to learn how to remember the cranial nerves. I just want to let you know right now I might mispronounce some of these words, and that's because the people who make these words up just make it really hard to pronounce these words, so please forgive me. And so the method we're going to be using is the story method. The first thing we're going to do is make images for all of these different nerves. Then after we have the images, we're going to connect them all together in a big story. So let's get started. So for olfactory, I think of a factory, right? Makes sense. For optic, I think of a telescope because a telescope uses optics. For the ocular motor nerve, I think of a motorcycle, but the beginning ocular, I think of a cooler. For the trochlear nerve, I think of a truck made of mirrors. For the trigeminal nerve, I think of a triangle that has gems. Okay. For the abducens nerve, I think of abs and cents. Okay, like pennies, nickels, cents. For the facial nerve, I think of a face getting hit by a shell. Okay. I'm gonna try to pronounce the longer one. So it's for the vestibular cochlear nerve, I think of a test and a nuke. To the end of cochlear, I think of nuclear. Then the vestib, I think of a test. For the glossopharyngeal nerve, I think of lip gloss and a seal that has fur. For the vagus, I think of Las Vegas. For the spinal accessory, I think of a vine. And accessory, I think of like headphones and like a phone case type thing. And then the hypoglossal, I think of a hippo, and again with some lip gloss. So now that we have the images, let me create the story for you and follow along and just picture this happening. I'm also going to have the images on the screen. So say you see this big factory and the smoke coming out of it, but on one side of the factory, there's just this big hole. And this factory is producing telescopes. So all these telescopes are just falling out of this hole from the side of the factory, just falling to the ground. Then you hear a motorcycle. So this guy comes up with a motorcycle, has this cooler, opens the cooler, and starts shoving a whole bunch of telescopes in the in the cooler, closes it, and drives off. But he's not paying attention to where he's driving and crashes into this truck made of mirrors. So he crashes into the truck and breaks the mirror on one side. And so who comes out of it is a triangle, but he also has his bag of gems with him. And he's so upset, he's yelling, he's like, oh, what'd you do to my truck? You know, you're gonna have to pay for this. But then the triangle starts to get chased by this guy who comes out of nowhere because he's running. The triangle's getting chased by this guy with amazing abs. And the crazy thing is that these abs are tossing cents at the triangle. So yeah, the guy's abs are tossing cents at the triangle. So it's tossing a whole bunch of cents. But the guy's not looking where he's running, so he kicks a shell, and somehow the shell flies in the air and hits him right in the face. So the shell hits his face. And then you start to hear some laughter, and you look to the side, and you see this nuke taking a test. And he's just cracking up, but then you hear, stop that, stop laughing. And there is a seal with fur, and then the seal starts to pour a whole bunch of lip gloss on the nuke. Like, yeah, how you like that? It's not so funny. Then the seal's like, you know what? I have to take this. I'm going to Las Vegas. And so the seal goes to Las Vegas and is walking in to a casino, but then he gets robbed by a vine. And the vine's like, hey, give me all your phone accessories. Give me your headphones. Give me the phone case. And so this vine robs the seal. And so the seal thinks, he's getting away, or the vine thinks he's getting away scot-free. But then he gets tackled by a hippo, and the hippo starts to pour a whole bunch of lip gloss over him and takes him to jail. And so that's the story you're going to picture in order to remember these 12 different nerves. But the amazing thing about the method we use is that you know exactly the order of these nerves. And that's because the story gives you the order. So the order of the images give you the order of the nerves. So the first image is going to give you the first nerve. Second image is going to give you the second nerve, and so on. So the story began, with this big factory, right? You're like, okay, factory is the first image. That's right. Factory was the olfactory nerve. So the olfactory nerve is number one. And then, this factory was producing telescopes that were falling onto the ground. Okay, telescope, optics. Okay, so the telescope is the second image. And so that means optic is the second nerve. And so on. You just go through the whole story like that, and you know exactly the position of the nerve, which is really awesome. And so I just want to leave you with this last note, and that is maybe some of my images didn't really make sense to you. Maybe because I mispronounced them, and I did try to watch, how to pronounce them correctly ahead of time. But, just like very tedious and like all the, how you pronounce it right. So forgive me on that. But these are the images I saw and I created. So maybe they don't make sense to you, which is okay because maybe you had an image, you're like, oh, this image would work a million times better for me. Use it. Use images that work better for you. That's the whole point of all these memory techniques I'm teaching you. Imagination. You use what works for you, and just because I say olfactory is a factory doesn't mean that's the best image out there. No, the best image is whatever image works for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learn the cranial nerves and share this video with people who are going to the medical profession or whatnot because they probably have to learn this. And this is a really fun way to learn the nerves. And so I'll see you next time.